Is the congregation ready? May the church say amen. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of LOFT TALK. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. It's the last day. Anybody from Atlanta that ever listened to the radio as a kid? And you know when it's 6 o'clock and it's time for Greg Street to rock. Anyway, you know what I just did. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. It's the end of the week. It's the last day, right? Today I want to discuss being, you know what? And I haven't even developed the actual, like what I would say for the title of the type of person I'm trying to speak on or speak to. I guess it would be the chosen, honestly. The chosen. The people who know that they are purposeful and know that they have a purpose in this world that doesn't quite align or is not very similar with the general population. This is for my people who know that their purpose is different, right? They know that their purpose is going to require them to contradict the general public. You know, your purpose is going to cause you to go against the grain and swim upstream. I'm talking to them folks. If that's not you, and you've never felt that way, you have no idea what I'm talking about, you think I sound kind of crazy or something, you can still stick around because maybe it could be you and you just don't realize it yet. If you keep finding yourself back in the same situation where you feel like everybody around you is kind of operating a little bit in fear and living their lives at a limit and kind of being satisfied with sort of the bare minimum. And, you know, that's the perspective you have on it because you see a bigger picture. If you keep finding yourself in that situation where everybody else around you is looking at you crazy for the decisions that you're making, but to you it makes perfect logical sense, but you find yourself at war with yourself a little bit on certain decisions you make because you're like, well, everybody else, the general public, my family, the people around me, my coworkers are looking at me like I'm insane for even thinking about making the decision that I'm about to make. But to me, it makes perfect logical sense. So you're at war with the part of you that's like, but wait, if all of them are saying is, you know, it must be some truth to it. They got to be right. But then the other part of you, your more natural reaction is like, nah, I know this makes sense. Like, what are y'all talking about? But now you're at war with yourself because you're like, all them people ain't lying, right? You feel like all these people ain't telling me a lie. All these people ain't dumb, right? But you deep down, you like, no, what are y'all talking about? This makes perfect sense. Like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to do that, and that's what's going to happen, and I'm going to be totally fine. But everybody around you is just looking at you like you're crazy, and sometimes you might get to a point where you're like, you're damn near trying to convince them to see it your way and get them on board so that you feel more comfortable making these decisions. And I'm speaking generally because it could be a plethora of a variety of different situations, right? You're trying to get them on board and you're trying to get them to confirm and validate your decision because you see that they don't necessarily agree with it and they think that you should do the opposite being what they do, right? And so you look for some type of validation within them sometimes, maybe. But I'm here to tell you, you're not going to find validation in anybody else but you and God. If you feel like God is leading you somewhere and or you feel like your purpose is to go in this direction or you know in your heart of hearts that this makes perfect sense and this is what's going to happen. Like, I have to do that. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this over here that y'all are doing anymore. It just is not working for me. I'm not meant to do that. And you feel like you got to go do this. You probably do have to go do that, and you have to understand that you're not going to get validation from these people over here. And I don't want to sound demeaning when I say this, but this is the best way I can convey the point with an analogy. You're not going to get validation from sheep, right? You're not going to get validation from cogs in the system. Don't try to be a cog in the system when you're not meant to be. You get what I'm saying? You're not going to get validation in your decision to be a leader of some sort or a game changer of some sort or a creator of some sort by people who are just sheep in parts of the system, right? They don't if you were born into a world of robots pretty much, but you were born with a purpose to create bigger and better robots or more robots, or a system for the robots to work in, why would the robots encourage you? The robots think you one of them. You're supposed to be one of them. And I'm not trying to be demeaning to the general, to like the people around you, but some people That was me saying it in a more extreme and dramatic way. Some people just don't get it, right? Because they're not meant to, and that's perfectly fine. Some people are not meant to do what it is that you do or anything similar to what you do. Some people are just meant to serve out their purpose on a smaller level, right? Serve out their maybe they're meant to stay local in the small town that maybe nobody else in the United States has heard of, but they're doing their due diligence. They're doing their work in that hometown to make a difference. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's what they're meant to do. Maybe that is their picture. Your picture is so much bigger. You see so much further, and you're confused as to why these people around you don't see it, because it's not meant for them to see. Their picture was always meant to be just this big, while yours was way bigger than that. And that's fine. That's perfectly okay. But you have to stop trying to get validation from the people around you currently that the decision for you to move up, forward, or go take a different path is okay and that it's the right thing to do. You're not going to get that validation. So you have to know, between you and God, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know that what you're doing is good. Like you're good in this decision. Like, you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to do it, figure it out, and make it happen, right? You're not going to get that validation you're probably not even going to get the validation from your parents, your best friend, your coworkers, your peers at school. You're not going to get the validation you're seeking from anybody else. You're just not. And you have to be okay with making that decision on your own. You have to be confident in the fact that you know what's best for you. You get what I'm saying? You have to be confident in the fact that you know what's best for you. You know you more than anybody else does. You and God have to be in this together. You have to be confident in the fact that you're going to make this decision to take this path. And because you know what you've learned throughout life, and you know how point A is going to lead to point B, going to lead to point C and D. Whether Jimmy, Josh, and Gary confirm that for you or not, that shouldn't make your decision any different. You need to do what's best for you. If you know you can't be around here, over here with these small thinkers and these sheep, then you just can't. For some people, that's a comfortable space, and that's fine. But if you know that's not you, you know you're meant to serve a bigger purpose, you need to make the decisions for what's best for you and your purpose. That's all I wanted to remind y'all. Don't allow your current circumstances and surroundings and the people around you to discourage you from your purpose, when you know deep down, when you lay your head down at night and the world goes quiet, and you get these visions of where you see yourself, and you just know, you kind of have this like inner knowing that you're going to be there. Hold on to that. Focus on that and pay attention to that. Even when the day gets started and the world gets loud and you go to work or you go to school and you're surrounded by these people that would say the opposite, remember to hold on to that and move in that direction. And everything you do in your life and everything you do in your daily life, when you go in the grocery store, when you going in school, when you going in your job, when you going anywhere, take that knowing that you have, that your purpose is much bigger and that you have to take that path. Take that with you everywhere. Remember, when you go to buy a car, have your purpose in mind. When you go to do a test at school, have your purpose in mind. When you go to do a project at work, have your purpose in mind. Like, remember that your trajectory is beyond this. Like, this is not don't get so caught up in the mundane routines of life and your week, right, that you forget that this isn't the end goal for you. This isn't the stop. Keep that in mind and move forward. And also keep in mind that everybody else is not going to understand that. You may meet people who are purpose driven and understand the bigger dream, but understand that it's very likely that most people won't understand that. So keep that in mind and understand you are gunning for something. You're traveling towards something on a path that you're on by yourself, and 9 times out of 10, nobody around you knows it. So you have to keep, so the world around you isn't going to be able to remind you of where you're going. You're going to have to do that for yourself, because they're going to do quite the opposite and try to make you feel comfortable and stagnant and want you to stay where you stay. So keep that in mind. Like, remind yourself that you are on a path to serve a certain purpose, for a certain type of greatness, and you just have to keep that in mind. That's all I want to remind y'all of today. Do whatever you can today to close the week out good, close the week out well, help somebody, pay for somebody groceries, pay for somebody drink at the coffee shop, Starbucks or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, do a little good deed or something. You know, I'm gonna do mine, you do yours, and until next episode, peace.